Stephanie Milky here, aka KetoMOM, or often called mom, sis, Steffi, daughter, wife, aunt, and friend. Just like many of you, I carry a lot of titles. My favorite title is mom. I should probably say wife, which takes a lot of my time. But let's be honest, if you want to do something and do it well, you will make the time for it. Commitment is hard because we find ourselves overcommitted, but when you practice prioritizing, you will find out what is actually important and what you can let go. With the KetoMOM podcast, you will learn together how to manage our time, commit to the most important things in life, and I will equip you with the tools you need to feel qualified each step of the way. My name is Stephanie Milky, and welcome to the KetoMOM Secrets podcast. Oh yes! Hello, good morning. Welcome to the KetoMOM page. My name is Stephanie. We had a bit of a challenge yesterday, and I think social media was not allowing me to go live. And so I couldn't come on here and talk about the book with you, although I did it on YouTube. So here is the deal. Welcome to the KetoMOM page. My name is Stephanie. We're going through the book called The Compound Effect, and we're going to talk today. We're partly way through chapter 1. If you have the book, great. If you don't have the book, I'll give you the brief overview of what it's about. Yesterday, I could not do that. But did you know that we have a YouTube called KetoMOM Secrets? We have a podcast called KetoMOM Secrets, and on Instagram called KetoMOM Secrets. So today I get to go live because we never know why social media is the way it is, right? We just have to be like, all right, we're getting adaptable. So good morning. It is going to be an incredible morning. I'm looking outside. The water looks like glass. There's no wind, which is rare because it can be tend to be windy out where we live. I'm excited. All right. The compound effect is just simply that. We're diving into what this actually means. Yesterday, I shared a story about 3 characters, Scott, Larry, and Brad, and we talked about how when you do just a little bit consistently every single day, or when you do nothing and you just stay the same, or when you do just a little bit worse, 1% better, 1% worse over the course of years, you will see, let's say example, our friend Scott, who didn't do a lot different. Like he didn't dive into this crazy diet and try to get results over 2 weeks or 2 months, but he consistently ate one less snack, walked a little bit further, read a couple pages of a book, and over the couple years, he was better because of that. Then we had our friend Larry, who did nothing but stay the same. He didn't try to be better. He didn't implement anything worse, and he was just basically stuck in the same hypnotic rhythm, but crabbier. And then our friend Brad. And Brad chose to watch a little bit more TV, eat a little bit more snacks, sit around a little bit more, and then after the course of 2 years, he paid for it and how his body looked and how he felt. So that was yesterday. Today we're going to dive into, basically he says this: what if we went back and actually looked at success and went after goals and went after the things that we wanted to, like our grandparents did? And you might be like, what does that look like and what does that mean? He says it like this: the most challenging aspect of the compound effect is that we have to keep working away for a while, consistently and efficiently before we begin to see the payoffs. He goes, our grandparents knew this, though they didn't spend their evenings glued to the TV or watching infomercials of how to get their thighs thinner in 30 days or real estate kingdoms in 6 months. Back in the day, most people worked 6 days a week from sun up to sundown. The secret to success then, and still is now, hard work, discipline, and good habits. What do you think? True or false? 100% true, right? So in general, just so you know, I go through my hope is to give you a thought in the morning or whenever you decide to watch this to help you realize. I was talking to my husband the other day and I was listening to a podcast. I listen to podcasts every day. And one of the things that Erwin McManus said on his podcast called Battle Ready, he said, we are not taught basically throughout school and college to always listen. We're taught to find the answer, raise our hand, interrupt the teacher, or like we're taught to have all the answers, right? And he goes, the amount of people that need to realize that stuff takes time and energy, and you might not have the answer, and it takes putting in the work. It takes, actually, I don't know where I was going with that. There was a reason. I had the reason. But in general, I think this. We think, well, no, I don't want to even say that. Actually, I'm going to read how he explained it because it was really good. So please hold. All right. He goes, having experience. Okay. So he goes this. We stop doing what we know that we did in the past. There's so much to read. Here's my biggest challenge. I would read to you the entire book. So I've got so many highlights and so many, but I'm not going to read to you the whole thing. He goes, complacency has impacted so many groups and empires, and he named all the way back to the Egyptians or the Greeks or the Romans or present day. And our author says this, he has experienced extended periods of prosperity, health, and wealth. But when people do, they become complacent. Here on the KetoMOM page, I will have people that message me and they'll say, hey, I lost all the weight 5 years ago. I've done keto before. I've reached that point. And then what happens? Basically, they got complacent. They felt like they have achieved success in whatever area of your life that is. If you all of a sudden, like, your marriage is going great, or you've got a great workspace, or your health is going awesome, how easy is it to go like this? All right, I'm just going to chill for a little bit. The number one question that I get on the KetoMOM page is, when I reach my goal, do I have to do this for the rest of my life? Hey, do I have to drink these ketones for the rest of my life? Hey, do I have to do this for the rest of my life? And it's so interesting to me because I think if you're doing it what I consider right, then you should want to feel better the rest of your life, and you should want to stick with somewhat of the same habits and doing the same routines. What people want is they want to achieve goals, and then they all of a sudden want to let off and go eat all of the same things they did in the past. People, I'll say, well, why did you gain the 50 pounds? Well, I don't know. Well, did you eat differently? Did you stop going to the gym? And as I wiggle in questions and get to the root of why somebody lost the weight, then gained the weight, now needs to lose it again, it comes back to exactly what he's talking about. People get complacent. I've reached the goal. I'm all done. I've arrived. It's going to stay this way. Now I shouldn't have to do the work. No, that's not how it works. And so he says this, we become complacent. We stop doing what we did to get us to where we were, right? We become like a frog in a boiling pot of water that doesn't jump to its freedom because the warm is so have you guys ever heard, like, how does a frog become frog stew? Or like the story about just being comfortable. Like if you put a frog in boiling water, if the water's already boiling and you put the frog in the boiling water, it's going to jump out. It's going to be uncomfortable. But if you put a frog in a warm pot of water and then you slowly increase the heat until it's boiling, you will get frog stew because he's comfortable and he didn't realize the slow progression. He didn't jump out. He stayed in that comfort. That's where a lot of people are at. Like they don't realize, like, 1% worse, 1% worse. If you followed along on the story yesterday, Brad, our friend Brad, he didn't make a drastic change in his life. What he did is he wanted to enjoy life. So he had one extra drink in the evenings, or a couple days a week, he made some extra treats that he wanted, some extra baked goods. He learned how to make some extra very rich food. Not that that's bad. But what he did is he consistently made 1% choices over the course of 2 years. And you saw in his life, like, he had gained the weight, while our friend Scott made 1% better choices over the course of 2 years by, like, going for an extra walk, having one less snack. And it's the comfortable frog. If you're comfortable and it's hard to be better, and it is uncomfortable to go to that gym or to go to that class or to do an extra lap or to pack your lunch or to say no to the coworkers when they're eating the pizza because you brought your own food. Those 1% choices matter. And that's what he's saying. And if you decide to just go, oh, I'm done, I've arrived, and you get complacent, you will find yourself back in the same spot that you were because you're not willing to keep up the hard work. All of it is hard work, whether it's in your relationships or your marriage or parenting or your workspace or your personal spiritual life or your physical health. It all takes work for your entire life. To be the best version of you, it's consistently doing the best choices possible. All right. So if we want to succeed, we need to recover our grandparents' work ethic. Real and lasting success requires work. And that's it. And so, all right, here's what he says. He goes, most people have, this is what I wanted to read to you. Most people have the microwavable mentality. Understanding the compound effect will rid you of the insta results. We talk about that sometimes on here, right? The belief that success should be as fast as fast food, your 1 hour glasses, your 30-minute photo processing, your overnight mail, your microwavable eggs, and your Insta hot water, and your text messaging, right? Promise yourself that you're going to let go once and for all of your lottery winning expectations because, let's face it, you only hear the one story of the one winner and never of the millions of people that lost. You hear the story of the one winner, and you can even say that on social media. Think about the millions and millions and millions of stories online that maybe haven't had the weight loss success, or they haven't had all of those successes that they want because they're not willing to put in the work, but you watch the one or the two people that you're like this. How did they get that? Oh, they got lucky. Oh, they were just given it. No, he says that too. He says, you don't see, he goes, when you understand the compound effect and how it works, you won't pine for quick fixes or results. Don't try to fool yourself into believing that a mega successful athlete didn't live through a regular bone-crushing drills, thousands of hours of practice. She or he got up early to practice and kept practicing long after all the others had left, right? They faced the sheer agony and frustration of failure, loneliness, hard work, and disappointment until they became number one, right? The Michael Jordans or I don't know a lot of athletes, but anybody that you're looking at in life, you see the very few successful stories and we think it was an instant overnight, and it wasn't. And you actually don't always look or hear about the stories of the failures because there's millions and millions of them and millions of them, right? We need to go back to the way our grandparents did things. They didn't have Insta anything. We were actually sitting around our kitchen table the other day with our grandparents, my girls' great-grandparents, and they were telling the girls stories. And that is something that you should do with your children or you with yourself if you have grandparents. They were telling the girls stories about how they had to walk to school. They had one pair of shoes. They cut out, our grandpa Maynard said, he goes, you have no idea how many pieces of cardboard I had to cut before I could get new shoes because they still fit, but they had holes in them. Or how I had to work after school, or like our great grandma Mary, right? She said she had to actually be done with school and she never graduated. I think at 13, I don't remember the age, she had to go to work to help provide for her family because her dad was sick. Or the hard work they did on the farm. Like, we are super thankful for the technology that we have, right? We are so blessed with all of the Insta things, right? The messages, the text messages, the FaceTimes. When my sister went off, so I have two sisters and a brother. And both my sister and I both got married a day apart in 2004. My second sister went off to go fight in the war in Iraq, and she was over in Iraq for 18 months. We were home, and we both were married, but we physically could not talk to my sister. We maybe got a letter or two, but there were times that we were like, oh my goodness, are we going to hear from her? Because we only had the news. Like, the things that we have today, 100% are valuable. If we would have had FaceTime like we were today, I could have talked to her over in Iraq, but we didn't. I'm going to say that in the 18 months, we maybe heard from her a handful of times, right? I'm just saying, technology can be a gift. It is a gift, and there are lots of things that make our life easier. I tell people an Instapot is so great, especially with a family of 6, right? Or Sure, a microwave. Or I tell people, listen, y'all should have an air fryer. It makes your dinners so much simpler. And yet, we need to remember that these tools do not take away the hard work that we have to put in to get the results that we want, right? So it's like bringing in the old of like the great grandparents and perspective of the hard work, and then also being able to utilize the tools that we have makes for great results if we actually do the hard work and use the tools that we have, right? The biggest thing that I truly feel like the reason that people fail is because they compare, and comparison is the thief of joy. So technology has also allowed us to watch other people's lives, to want to be them, to want to have what they have, which allows us to sit in this boiling water like a frog because we're afraid to take action, or we didn't get lucky like they did. And then we start to boil and we're comfortable, and then it just takes us out, right? And so this book is going to give you an understanding of how to compound habits over time with hard work, consistency of taking action. And then as you do that, you'll add on another good habit, and you'll add on another good habit, and it's going to compound like the money that we talked about. I said, would you rather have $3 million today or a penny doubled every day for 31 days or compounded? And at the end of those 31 days, you had $10 million versus 3, right? Hi, Rosalie. Good morning. She says, hey, I caught you live. So he says this, basically, the compound effect is always working. You can choose to make it work for you, or you can ignore it and experience the negative effects of its powerful principles. It doesn't matter where you are at on this graph. I'll show you. Starting today, you can decide to make simple, positive changes and allow the compound effect to work for you. It's either going to work for you or against you. 1% better or 1% worse. The choices that you make every single day, you're either going to make excuses and you don't gain the 10 pounds because you made an excuse of not going to the gym today. You also don't lose the 10 pounds of fat because you went to the gym today, right? But 1% better over the course of a year or 2 years, like our friend, who was our friend that lost the weight, Scott, or 1% worse of making the excuses and having the extra snacks and sleeping in and enjoying the extra drinks over 1 to 2 years, you will reap those they're not benefits, those negative compound effects as well. So we'll dive into some more tomorrow. Tomorrow we talk about choices, and he's basically going to start teaching you of how to actually use the compound effect. Here's the book for those of you who asked. It's called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. I think it's a great book. We'll continue to go through this on the page. If you miss it, you can come back and watch the live later. You can always go to KetoMomSecrets.com, and you can click on Book Club for all of the other books we've done in the past. You can ask questions below. You can send me a message. I am here to help. Rosalie, I want to help you. Yes, Rosalie has, hold on. I'm trying to read stories as I'm sharing. All right, y'all have great stories. Thank you for commenting below. I love to see them. I go back after I'm done and read them. So thank you for tuning in. Your presence matters. I hope you guys have an incredible day. Tune in later. Praise the Lord that our Facebook got turned back on. I don't know what happened, but it's not a big deal. We're here. Have a great morning, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye.